abundance in a universe. And we all have the ability to tap into our deepest dreams. You can learn and grow at your own speed and build a business based on your own needs. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Why do we wait until tomorrow when we could do it today? Step out of your comfort zone and take a leap of faith. You can learn and grow at your own speed and build a business based on your own needs. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Bedrock bookkeepers rocket from their home. Bedrock bookkeepers make it on their own. Bedrock bookkeepers live it in the zone. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family. Well, I bet you didn't know you could make money from your home and take control of your security. Yeah, I bet you didn't know that you could make it on your own and take good care of your family.
Thank you to Bedrock. Challenges. I think mas mahirap yung tax against payroll. Payroll is easier to do than the tax. Mahirap siya pero masaya kapag nakuha mo. Thank you, Bedrock. Thank you, Joe. And thank you to the Bedrock team.
Thank you so much, Joe and the Bedrock team. This is very challenging on my part, but it's part of growth and to learn more, including the bookkeeping job. Thank you so much for the challenges that you gave us. I know that we still have more time to familiarize everything before we get into the real payroll job. Thank you so much.
Congrats sa batch 3 of the Payroll Masterclass. Big thank you to Miss Aileen for always available to answer all our questions, and to my fellow batchmates for their constant support and motivations. And to Joe, thank you for all the challenges. Your project may have caused us some headache as always. But you told us it's good to have a headache because we learned from that. But it pushed us to dig deeper, learn more, and to realize our potential. Now I see that your teaching style was all about pushing us to be resourceful and self-reliant, and appreciate it. Thank you, Bedrock.
So thank you so much. This Bedrock experience really taught me a lot that it's not too late to start all over. It's not too late to change career if necessary. As what Joe have told me during our one-on-one conversation, you just have to know the why, and then it will motivate you. This is a new milestone for me. If you have that dream inside of you, no one can stop you. And as they say, the only way to success is to focus and believe in yourself. For believing in yourself, you are halfway there. Thank you so much, everyone, and congratulations.
One of the things I've learned is to be resourceful and be confident, even if you don't know, research and ask questions. Thank you for Joe and the Bedrock team for really opening this course to us. It's a great opportunity for us to learn and get like a hands-on experience to do payroll tasks in a US setting.
Sobrang accommodating ng team kasi kapag meron akong questions, very accommodating. So, sobrang na-appreciate ko kasi I've been in some courses na din. Pero kapag may mga questions, parang nagiging active lang sila kapag sa group. Siguro dahil andun yung mga boss, superior. But kapag may mga direct messages ako sa admin, nakakakuha pa rin ako ng prompt response. So, kung gano'n sila ka-prompt mag-response dun sa group, ganun din kapag direct messages. And kay Joe, I've learned so much a lot, hindi lang about dun sa technical course, but as a person, sobrang napaka-motivating young person. What I appreciated about Joe made me realize na pag naging intern ka sa Bedrock or kahit siguro sa ang company, kung if you will work for an experience, yung experience kasi na ibibigay sa'yo is more than just a money. Grabe yung encouragement sa akin ni Joe. So, more than the technical skills na nakuha ko sa course na to, mas na-appreciate ko yung hindi lang si Joe but even Miss Luz and Miss Catherine, Miss Eileen nung nag-share sila about experience nila.
For me, I'm specializing so in the consultation kasi I see to it that service offer ko to cater crypto accounting is addressed especially during the course and in terms of preparation with ITR and all that. I asked Joe specific questions about it and it was addressed, and I appreciate his knowledge in terms of updates and all that. So I really appreciate the course and Joe and of course the team. So me and my wife are always asking in terms of how we do this, and the specifics about the team are really helpful and giving us guidance on how to do it. So many thanks, guys.
Masasabi ko sa course is napaka-helpful niya, especially yung practice sets. Yan, tapos na-familiarize din ako sa paggawa ng trick sa tax preparer. Yan, so congratulations sa atin, and looking forward ako sa Jumpstart community natin. Yan, namimiss ko tong class na to, mga classmates natin. Thank you po sa Bedrock, kay Joe, sa Bedrock team, especially din po kay Ma'am Eileen, kay Luz. Okay. Sa lahat po, maraming salamat.
Thank you so much for the teachings. Actually, I enrolled in this course because I plan to target also US market clients. I don't really have clients in the US because I'm not that confident that I know their tax rules. I think this course will help me be confident in handling US clients. I actually enjoyed working on the Drake because it's my first time to experience that one, and also the forms. It's my first time to see all the forms. I like about this course is it helped me to stay committed and what I promised to do for myself.
With this course, it was the push that I need to be serious and study the whole process of tax preparation. Before, I don't know where to put the wages, the pensions, the retirement distributions. I would like to thank Joe and the team.
Doing this 5-week course is not that easy. So you have that you need to have that accounting background already, because if not, it's like you will be misled. Where are you going? What are these numbers are for? So you really have to have that background already. So if you haven't have that background yet, maybe it's preferably to enroll in the 13-week course. With this, I've learned a lot, and I have a lot of questions with Joe. He remembers me, I know, because of my questions. So one of my takeaways of this, I love this part. It is in the chapter 4. It says, in the end, no amount of tax planning or problem-solving strategies is going to be of use to any entrepreneur if they don't have a solid financial foundation based on good bookkeeping and sound record keeping. So that phrase to me is, it's more of a bookkeeper friendly phrase, because you will not have that good tax planning if your book is total mess. So it really starts with good bookkeeping, and then a strategic tax planning. So thank you for this course. For now, I'm still enjoying my bookkeeping work, but who knows, in the future I will have that gut and courage to be a tax preparer.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Happy.
Welcome to the Jumpstart Your Freelance Accounting Career Community, a vibrant network dedicated to empowering professionals who aspire to work from home and build successful freelance careers. Our community is designed for accountants and bookkeepers across the Philippines, offering a supportive environment where members can share insights, resources, and experiences. We believe in the power of collaboration and continuous learning, providing access to valuable tools, resources, and expert advice that will help you thrive in the freelance landscape. Whether you're just starting out or looking to enhance your skills, our community is here to guide you every step of the way. Benefits of joining Jumpstart Your Freelance Accounting Career Community. Essential tools and resources. Gain access to curated productivity tools and resources tailored for accountants and bookkeepers. Flexible work environment. Embrace the freedom of working from home with guidance on setting up your workspace for maximum productivity. Freelancing basics. Learn how to kickstart your freelance career with tips on client acquisition, proposal writing, and effective communication. Pathway to CPA. Explore opportunities and resources to pursue your CPA designation while balancing your freelance work. CFO skill development. Enhance your financial management skills to market yourself as a chief financial officer for small businesses. U.S. tax preparation services. Discover how to offer specialized services like U.S. tax preparation, expanding your client base internationally. Build your own tax agency. Get insights into establishing your own U.S. tax agency, including marketing strategies and operational best practices. This community is not just a network, it's a launchpad for your freelance journey. Join us to connect with like-minded professionals, share knowledge, and unlock new opportunities in the accounting and bookkeeping fields.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for gathering all of us today in this important endeavor. We ask that you bestow your guidance and blessing upon each attendant. May we honor one another by keeping an open mind. May we voice our truth and listen with an open heart. Bless everyone present today, and that each may be able to share his or her contributions and gifts. Grant good health and safety to loved ones left outside this room, and bestow peace and goodwill to all of us. We ask for your wisdom and grace to use our talents for the betterment of others. May the various activities related to this day be a success to your intervention. With gratitude, we offer this prayer in your name. Amen.
Okay, so good morning again, everyone. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, Joe.
My new mastermind friend.
Yes, sir.
So, if this is your first Saturday workshop with us, just give me a 1 in the chat. I want to welcome you. And also, thank everybody again for coming here on a Saturday morning. It's actually Friday late afternoon for Brian, right?
Yes, it's 7 p.m. Friday here.
Okay,
But
7
that's
p.m.
okay. I'm so happy to be here.
Yes, and we're happy to have you.
Thank
So,
you.
Brian, for those of you that were here last week and got to hear Craig, Craig is my college buddy that I connected with, reconnected with after a long time apart. And Craig started this great mastermind group where I met a lot of great people like Larry Broughton. Larry will be here next week, and so being in a mastermind group is a pretty powerful resource. If anybody has a chance to be part of a mastermind group, I definitely recommend it. Or any other kind of business group. I know Marianne is in BNI. Marianne, are you here? I know that you said hi to me this
Hi, good
morning.
morning. Yes. Hi,
Good
Brian.
morning.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
So, can you briefly tell us about your experience with BNI?
Sorry, I cannot open my camera, but yeah, I've joined last year and I was able to get some client as well and referrals from BNI, mostly local. So I got, I think, 4 referrals from them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I look at BNI because I've been in BNI groups. I started BNI groups. It's similar to a mastermind. Okay. And if you don't know what a mastermind is, it's basically a group of like-minded people. Craig's slant is all about really marketing. Well, it's a marketing mastermind group, but what I found, and maybe Brian could enlighten us on this, it really comes down to a lot of personal development. And so that's the take on mastermind groups, and this is how I met Brian. And let me just do a brief intro. Brian Mad Dog Maddox is a former U.S. combat pilot, which sounds pretty exciting. Founder of Total Engagement Leadership. He transforms managers, professionals, and founders into high performance leaders. His career has taken it from the cockpit to the boardroom, where he applies the same discipline, agility, and strategic thinking that are essential in world dominant military aviation to world-class business leadership. Now, I don't know how many of you could relate to being a fighter pilot. I'm still working.
Has everyone seen Top Gun? That's question number one.
Oh yeah, I just saw the remake.
If you saw Top Gun, we're copacetic. Either one of them, it doesn't matter.
Basically, like a living video game.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, that's me.
All right, so thank
I
you.
actually
for
have
joining.
I actually have an action figure, believe it or not.
I believe it. I believe it, especially, and Craig is probably going to take credit for it, right?
Greg probably will, yes.
All right, so you got some cool pictures of airplanes behind you. So
I do.
wait, Brian,
Ready? Ready?
we're ready.
Okay, can I present? All right, let me oh I
I'm
need
not
to
in
send
charge here.
I need to send a request to share. So you gotta let me share.
It's okay now.
It may seem like I'm in charge here, but I'm not. I have people in the background. Unlike Craig, Craig does everything himself. But Ellen, are you here? Can you allow Brian to share?
Yes, Joe, I already
Actually,
allowed.
okay.
Are
Thank
we
you.
good? Okay, all right, let me do this. We'll do screen one. Here we go, PowerPoint slideshow. There we go, share. Okay, boom. Can you guys all see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much. My name is Brian Maddox. My call sign is Mad Dog. Again, if you've all seen Top Gun, Tom Cruise's call sign was Maverick. My call sign is Mad Dog. Mad Dog, that's legit. What you see is the F-15E Strike Eagle, and I used to fly that jet a really long time ago, about 20 plus years ago. And what I do is I take the high performance team, the teaming lessons that I learned from being a fighter pilot and bring them into the not only the corporate environment, what you're going to see from the slides from the presentation, it kind of talks a lot to corporate, but it really also talks to entrepreneurs and freelance folks. Because regardless if you're, a solopreneur, if you are going into the fractional CFO, I noticed that as one of the programs you guys are doing, or you just have clients. Regardless of what you're doing, you have a team, right? The people that you work with that help you are your team. The people on this call are your team. Your clients are your team, right? So these are all the people that are on your team, and you, particularly as an entrepreneur, need to understand how to manage that team or how to best handle that team. And that's what we're really going to talk about today. Now, I got a lot of slides. I'm sorry. We're just going to kind of walk through them. The slides aren't that important. It just gives us all a reference to talk with, right? And so let me start with this, right? So what are we really trying to get at here? And this is it's a corporate example, but it's also a military example. So the whole idea of what I teach and what I'm trying to create is that engaged team members, people who are engaged, people who are passionate about what they do, right? Those people create great teams, and then from great teams you create great organizations or world-class organizations. And I think everybody probably gets that, but the crux of all of the crux, the foundation, what really matters is the leader, the team leader, that person who's pulling all this together. And again, in your freelance positions, whether you're dealing with each other, whether you have a team, or you're just dealing with your clients, you're guiding them. That is your team. You're guiding them through this journey, this leadership journey. You are the leader of those people. You're guiding them to their ultimate purpose, right? And so at the end of the day, the idea here is that, and so this is kind of a funny slide, right? Again, this applies a little bit more to corporate, but it also applies to entrepreneurship. That sometimes as an entrepreneur, you're overwhelmed, right? You don't know where to start. You don't know what to do. How do I do all this? How do I learn all this? It seems like I have to do everything at once. So how do we create a system that gets everybody involved and creates that engaged team where everybody's aligned, everybody's on the same the same path, right? And financially, in this whole financial world, I mean, what does everybody want? Everybody wants that financial freedom. And I would offer that each of you, through your journey with Joe, is on that journey to help your clients have that financial freedom and be able to take charge of their own financial freedom in their own lives. And what I'm offering is that it's not magic, right? You can systematize this. You can create a repeatable and teachable methodology for doing this, and that's what I'm developing, or I've developed rather. So my journey, by the way, is from 1991 to 2011. I was in the United States Air Force. I was a fighter pilot. I was actually a spy plane pilot. That's the picture you see there is me in a spacesuit. I flew the U-2 spy plane at 70,000 feet. I retired from the Air Force. When I retired from the Air Force, I got into the corporate environment. I was actually in a startup. It was a small company. And there wasn't the structure, there wasn't the leadership. I just didn't know what to do. And then, so that was like almost 8 years of my life that I just struggled through that. And then I went and got an MBA actually, and I got a new job. I transitioned from one job to the next in 2019, and I started doing what I knew. I knew airplanes, and I got into a company, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but I started doing airplanes again, and I understood business. I got an MBA, and it was just a whole new journey. And like I said, just a couple of months ago, I actually quit my job, my corporate job, to start doing this and start talking about this and start, kind of providing some of this information, like how do you actually do this? What is leadership? What is leadership? How do you systematize it? What are the basics of that, right? And so I'm going to offer a couple of different views. What's the problem? And the problem is engagement. So my whole view is getting engaged, getting passionate, getting into caring about what you do. We're going to talk about initiative as the fundamental quality of an engaged human being. And what I realized through my journey is, when I flew fighter jets, when I was a pilot, first thing is I was mentally, physically, and emotionally focused. I was engaged. I was passionate about what I was doing. But the biggest thing is that I was involved in what I call discrete work. There wasn't infinite emails. There wasn't all this, I got all this stuff to do. I was focused on one thing at a time, and that one thing was the mission. And we're going to talk about this in a minute, as opposed to what do most people experience in the workplace? And most people experience this whole, idea, this whole kind of continuum, this, I got emails. I've got this to do. I've got that to do. And you're not focused on the most important thing to do at that time. And please interrupt me if we have any questions or comments, or if I'm going too fast. I'll briefly talk about this, but when you talk about corporate and the so what, so engagement, so what? What's the big deal about that? And I'm going to jump right to the top right corner of the slide, because y'all are financial people and y'all care about finances and bottom line, right? And the bottom line is, for corporations, the difference between engaged people and not engaged people is a 23% increase in profitability. Think about that, 23% increase in profitability. What would that mean to your clients? How are you, if you're their financial advisor and you're creating 23% better results for your clients? What does that mean to you? What kind of business does that get you? And if you look at the bottom part of this, right, 70% of the variance in engagement. And when we talk about employees in corporate, but it's your team as well as freelancers, which again includes your clients, that 70% of the variance in results is based on the manager, based on the leader, the team leader. And that's you all, right? So having these skills get your clients engaged, get your clients passionate, get your teams passionate about what they're doing. Right. And we're going to talk about that. So what is all, and for me personally, and on my journey, I use the skills that I'm teaching now to win a $3 billion US government program. So that's the bottom line. I mean, this works. And so what are we doing here? Again, this is a repeat of another slide, but we're creating a system, something that's repeatable, something I can teach you and you guys can do every day and learn to go from overwhelmed, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't have my hands around things, to, hey, we're all on the same page, we're all aligned, we're all moving forward, right? And this is all repeatable and teachable. So what I developed is a system called Pilot, go figure, right? I'm a pilot, so the system is Pilot. And there are 5 elements to that, and they are purpose, initiative, leadership, opportunity, and tools. And we're going to talk about all of those, and we're going to particularly focus on not only those 5 elements, but what's happening inside of this blue box. What is that system? What are we actually doing to make this happen? What are those actions? Again, really quickly, the 5 elements: purpose, initiative, leadership, opportunity, and tools. Cool picture of the Thunderbirds in Colorado by Pikes Peak. So let's talk about purpose first. I look at this at 3 levels. And again, the presentation is kind of geared toward larger organizations, right? But again, you all are freelancers, because I'm going to jump right to the bottom 2, right? So we'll talk about the objective level purpose, and that's the team members understanding the team goals. When you communicate with a client, when you're talking to a client, what are you collectively wanting to do? What are our goals together? When you're working with a client, you're trying to understand their problem, and collectively, what are your goals? What are you trying to help them achieve? And then from there, you go to what we call the task level of purpose and clarity, and that is, what do we have to do? So you as advisors are leading your clients down a path, right? You're engaging with them. They have to actually take action on their own behalf. You have to help them actually do things to get to the end goal. So there's this teaming. You're gonna be doing things, they're gonna be doing things, but they are ultimately, your clients are ultimately responsible for their results just as much as you are. But it's your job, it's your role or your job as the advisor, as the leader, to communicate what that purpose is. What are we all trying to accomplish here as a team? Does that make sense? We good? Thumbs up if we're good. Right on, perfect. And that's kind of the beginning of the purpose, is the entry point of the system. And I would offer that initiative is the end of the system. Like, what's the output? What are we trying to accomplish? And initiative is the ability to initiate things. There's a couple of definitions just from the dictionary, right? Ability to assess and initiate things independently, and the power or opportunity to take action or take charge before others do. Nobody wants to be micromanaged, right? Nobody wants to be told what to do and wait for what to do and told you can't do this or that. So at the end of the day, what you want from both yourself and your clients and your team, whoever it is that you're working with, is, hey, we want to all understand what's going on and take independent action. As a fighter pilot, I had a machine. I was flying a machine, one of these things. I was flying a machine that was worth $50 million, and if I pushed a button, a bomb would come off of that and blow something up, right? And so I couldn't wait for somebody else's say so to do that. It was initiative. And if things changed in the environment, I still had to figure that out, right? So that that initiative is indicative of the trained, equipped, and empowered to make decisions. And you're as the leader, if you will, y'all are responsible for helping your team members and helping your clients to do that. And that initiative is that observable behavior. So what, right? Okay, all that's good, but what's the impact of that? People who take initiative at work, or in this case, in your work environment, are 37% more likely to be engaged, and employees who do take initiative saw a 22% increase in shareholder return. So again, this relates back to that other number, 23% increase in profitability, 22% increase in shareholder return. And again, as financial advisors, isn't that what you want to see, right? Is those kind of financial results for your clients, and what does that look like for you in your value proposition to your clients? The L in pilot is leadership, and there's all kinds of stuff. So much that's written about leadership. So what is leadership really? And I'm going to talk about that. You know, I can teach each and every one of you leadership with one word. You don't have to read another book. 80% of leadership is servant. If you are serving your clients, if you are serving your team, it's not about you, it's about them. You've gotten 80% of the way there. And what are the things that you're doing as a leader? Well, you're providing clarity, and that goes back to purpose. What exactly are we doing? What are we trying to accomplish here? You're providing team members with resources. So whether, again, as a financial advisor, particularly as a fractional CFO, and Joe, I know that's part of your program as well, is training to be a fractional CFO. You know, particularly as a fractional CFO, when you get to these higher levels, you've got a team, you have people under you, and your number one job is to provide them with the resources that they need to complete their task, right? And then finally, if the members of your team are having issues or having problems, your job is to understand that and clear their obstacles, fix any issues that they're having. And then as the leader, you are the glue that holds this whole system together. And the impact of that, the so what, and we looked at this before, is that 70% of the variance in engagement is directly attributable to the manager or the team leader. We saw what those results were in terms of engagement. And we talked about those three aspects of a manager's role: setting clear expectations, providing well, we're going to talk about the second one, providing regular feedback and iteration. I talked earlier about, you know, what is inside of that blue box. What are we really doing here? How are we actually doing this? And we're going to talk about that in a minute. We're also going to talk about opportunity, providing opportunity next. And again, financial freedom is one of those opportunities. But again, as a leader, you are the glue that holds all of this together. And, you know, I'll touch on this, but at least in the US, and Joe, maybe you can, you know, I'm going to just throw this out if you want to comment on this. But in the US anyway, we have this whole debate of leadership versus management, and it's either or. And I would offer that it's not either or, it's a continuum, it's both. You have to be a leader, but you also have to manage at the same time, and manage what your people are doing, manage your resources, manage your financials. Does that make sense? Joe, any comment on that at all?
No, I mean, I'm taking all this in. I'm really amazed. I was wondering how you were going to go from fighter pilot to accountant. But you did a great job.
Is this making sense though?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm taking notes here. You know, what I would like to ask everybody, if you could turn on your cameras, just so that we know that there's live people there. I don't want Ryan to think that he's talking to a bunch of AI robots.
It's okay, I'm used to that. I do that every day, actually.
But also, you know, I try to use these teachings, Brian, in the respect of how they're going to be engaging, and I love that how are they going to engage with their American clients?
Yeah.
Because there is serious cultural differences. And I've been living here for a while now. I mean, you're a fighter pilot. I mean, you know how Americans are. You're an entrepreneur. So that's part of why we do these Saturday workshops, and they've been extremely valuable. And engagement, I never thought of my job as the accountant in the way that you're putting it. So yeah, this is great.
Yeah. I mean, you're accomplishing goals, right? I mean, you're accomplishing, at the end of the
Good.
day, like for your clients, right? And I really like the and Joe, I don't know how much what the level of your part about your fractional CFO part of your business is within this group, but if you're moving toward that, you're a manager, you're a leader in an organization, and all
Well,
of
we
this
actually
applies.
are, so I'm glad you brought that up, because we've done surveys, and a lot of people want to learn about being a CFO.
Yeah,
Okay, we actually have a course coming up on it. And the
perfect.
truth is that most of them, my experience, because I believe most of these attendees are students of mine, they all have the skills, but now what you're making clear is it's a mindset. You can have the
Absolutely.
skill, but you have to, and the idea of uh, being part of my client's team, right? That's where, because I always ask myself, I said, I'm an accountant. How am I going to help people? But we're in that position, right, Brian? Our clients are looking to us for financial guidance.
Absolutely. You're leading them.
Yeah. So I'm getting this. I hope everybody else is.
Yeah, and I just, as we're having this conversation, I just flip back to the impact of leadership, right? And again, we go back to that earlier slide where 23% increase between the top quartile and the bottom quartile of engaged organizations. And really there are three groups that my my program or my teaching falls into. Number one is kind of that mid-level manager layer of a larger organization, right? That's the group that I was in, and I started my company to fix some of the issues with that mid-level manager layer. The second group is entrepreneurs, right? Hey, I have a great idea as an entrepreneur. I might be a technical person, but I have no idea how to lead a team. I really don't understand business structure. I have another framework, by the way, that talks about business structure and business strategy and how to think about that. But the third group, and I think that this applies here, and thank you for your comments, is people who are at that management level, people who are really good practitioners of what they do. In this case, financial advisors that want to level up to a management layer in a company. I think that fractional CFO role is exactly what we're talking about here. I think each one of you are entrepreneurs, so I think this is important to understand this leadership, this engagement framework, and engaging your employees. It's an emotional thing, engaging your employees, and how do you get that passion out of them? But also, if you're looking to level up to that fractional CFO level as well, that's now you're in an organization, you have an actual team underneath of you, and you have to manage them. So that's that's where people fail, is not understanding these team dynamics, right? Makes sense. So thanks again for those comments. So I'm going to move on, and I'm going to move on to the O in pilot, and that's opportunity. And what really is opportunity? What are we talking about here? And what I'm going to talk about is, and I don't know if everyone's familiar with this model or not, but there's a behavioral scientist called Abraham Maslow, and he's kind of famous for his model called the hierarchy of needs. Joe, you're familiar with this. And there are 5 levels.
The dog experiment.
That was actually Pavlov.
Okay.
Pavlov's dog. Maslow's a little different.
Okay. I bet.
So Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we can all relate to this, right? Is that, our baseline human physiological needs are food, clothing, shelter, things like that, right? And in a work environment, in a workplace environment or a business environment, what is the thing that meets those physiological needs? And that's your paycheck, right? I go to work, I get a paycheck, I can eat, I can buy food now. I can pay my rent. I can do all those things. And that's great. But once those needs are met, what's the next thing? And the next thing above that is safety. And we talk about job security and stability, but I'll offer as well, and this came to me today, had a conversation today, and leaders provide safety, right? Safety is one of the number one things that leaders provide to their team members. And I'll offer, particularly for financial advisors, that's probably your number one goal, right? Is how do I show my client that these investments are safe, that they can trust me to make these investments for them or advise them on their financials, right? The next level above that, and this is where we start getting into real emotion, right? Real human motivation is love and belonging, right? Feeling like you're a member of a team, right? And again, if you're someone's financial advisor, having them feel like you have their best interests, so like you serve them, like we're both on the same team and trying to accomplish the same mission and the same purpose is huge, right? That's where you really start getting into that customer loyalty aspect of business, is when your customers and your team members, your colleagues feel like you have their best interests in mind and they're a member of your team. In the fighter pilot world, you can't get around this because we depend on each other literally for our lives, right? So if I don't feel like we all have each other's best interests in mind, somebody's going to die. So this is huge as you climb up this hierarchy of needs. The next one is esteem, feeling like you're respected and recognized as a valuable member of that team. And then finally is self-actualization. This is the highest level. If you really want to create that loyalty, you're talking about self-actualization, which is purpose, autonomy, and mastery. And my next slide talks to that a little bit. This is the highest level when you really get into what motivates people. You're talking about those 3 things. And this is a great book, by the way, Daniel Pink, a book called Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us. By the way, take a look at this, take a screenshot. I think I sent out the slides. There's like a 15-minute YouTube video on this, and it walks through the whole thing, and it's super interesting. It's really a great something great to look at. And what it says is that people aren't really motivated by money. Once their physiological needs are met, now they're interested in these more high level self-actualization things, mastery, getting better at what it is that you do, and autonomy, the desire to direct your own life, and in a workplace environment, not be micromanaged. And Joe, I would say for this group, that's what you're creating, right? You're creating that mastery, getting better at financial services, learning. And then autonomy, creating the ability for all of your clients and all your team members to direct their own lives. But you want to pass that along to your clients as well, so they feel very self-directed. Right? They're mastering their own finances. They're mastering their own financial futures. That's where you really get into that hit that motivation level. That's where you really get into this engagement concept that we're talking about, right? And another statistics, the so what, the impact of this, and that people are 6 times more likely to be engaged when they can use their strengths, right? And when they have those strengths, right? And so again, what about that? Engaged people relate to 23% increased profit is what engagement buys you. Okay, so that's the impact of that. The T in pilot is tools. We're coming to the end of this. And the real question here that you got to ask, though, when you talk about tools, is tools to do what? What are we really doing? When I'm teaching engagement, when I'm teaching a system, what is it that y'all are going to do day in, day out with your clients to get them to engage with you, to get them to do all of these things, right? To get these results that we're talking about. And the answer to that is engagement is engaging with people. It's that back and forth. It's that human touch, like we're doing here. And I talked earlier about, we're going to talk about what's inside the blue box. What are we actually doing on a day-to-day basis to create that engagement, to go from that, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm overwhelmed, to that engaged team. And there's a couple of models that I'm going to talk about that illustrate this. And the first one is from my experience, again, as a fighter pilot. So another great book, it's called Debrief to Win. It's by a good friend of mine. His call sign is Cujo Techner. And I'm going to talk you through a fighter pilot. I'm going to teach you all how to be fighter pilots today. I'm going to talk you through a fighter pilot mission cycle. So when we went to do a mission, we went through this loop, if you will. And it's a 2-day cycle where we would show up on day 1. We get the whole team in there and all the stakeholders, and we would plan. We spend the whole day planning the mission for the next day. And what does that buy you? That buys you it buys you buy-in, right? Everybody's involved in the planning. Everybody's got buy-in to the plan. We all agree on what the plan is. Nobody's dictating, nobody's micromanaging, nobody's micromanaging is the right word. We've all got a stake in this. We all believe in the mission and we're going to go do it, right? Day 2, everybody shows up to work. We do a mission briefing. And what that is a review of the plan and anything that may have changed in real time since yesterday. Then we're going to go out and execute. We're going to go fly that mission. Again, everybody's seen Top Gun. You're going to go do the pilot stuff, as they say. And that's super fun and that's great. But then from there, what we do is we debrief. Okay. In the United States, we have American football. In the Philippines, I assume it's soccer, also called football, but soccer. Joe, help me out here.
Believe it or not, it's basketball.
Okay, basketball. Okay, fantastic. So any of these sports, I guarantee you, the first thing that the team does after the game is they go back and they watch the videotape of that game. And that's what we did as fighter pilots. We would watch all of our film. That's what they do as football players. That's what they do as basketball players. The first thing they do is they go watch the film from the game they just played. That creates learning. Now I'm learning what I did wrong. I'm in real time understanding the results of the actions that I just took. Okay, there's a similar model. This is more software. Sorry, it's a little bit technical. We call this Scrum. Here's a reference for you, Joe, as well, for your folks. It's a great book, but another iterative process. And this is actually what I teach. Obviously, we don't have time on this call to go all the way through what all of this is. but it's an iterative cycle of planning, executing. That's what the sprint is. Reviewing what we did. The review and the retrospective, by the way, just really quickly the review is the review of the product. Okay, we made a plan to get and the plan was expected to get a result. Did we or did we not achieve that result? And if not, why not? The retrospective is a review of the process. How well did we work together? What could be better in terms of our working process? Not just the product, but the process. Does that make sense? Everybody kind of understand the difference there? Both are critically important. And then another reference, and then again, then I'll add one of my favorite books is The Fifth Discipline. So the so what of that piece of it, the reason that we do these iterative processes and we touch base with our clients and our people and our team members literally every day is so that we don't get out of sync, so we stay aligned. Okay. Interestingly, in this book they call alignment is related to what we call mental models. So if you look at the bottom, the black box down at the bottom, alignment is the same as what we call shared mental models. All right. And what's really interesting about this book is that if you read chapter 9, it talks about mental models, but the subtitle of that is why the best ideas fail. Okay. And the reason the best ideas fail is the team's not aligned. Okay. People with different mental models observe the same thing but describe it differently. Perception is reality, right? So we all have to make sure that our perception of the situation is we all have the same perception of the situation, or we're not aligned and we're out of sync, and that's going to lead to different actions, to taking different actions and doing possibly and probably the wrong thing. There are 3 facets of developing shared mental models. One is infrastructures and practices. We talked about Scrum in the last side. We talked about the mission cycle and Scrum. This is how we build shared mental models and stay aligned literally on a daily basis. There are tools that promote this awareness, and we're going to talk about those next really briefly. And then the third thing is a culture that promotes inquiry, right? It's just, we're talking to each other. We're asking each other questions, like literally on a day-to-day basis. And I would say that culture comes from the result of the practice. You know, we don't just snap our fingers and create culture. We create culture by doing things and doing these practices. And I'm going to pause there. Does that make sense? Before we go on to tools, actually. Cool. I'm gonna move on. So now that we know what the tools are doing, why we're using these tools, what are the tools? And I'm going to offer 2 of them. And again, I'm not going to dive deep into this, but I'm going to introduce them, and either Joe, I'd be happy to come back and chat about some of this again, or just give you ideas that you can go dig into. So the first tool that I'm going to offer is a tool called Kanban. And you may or may not be familiar with these things called Kanban boards. This is how Scrum works. If you talk about the practice of Scrum, back to that book that I offered before, this is what's called the Scrum board. And all this is a way of keeping track of work, right? When we have things that we need to do as a team, we capture them, right? And we put them in this thing called a backlog. All right. So I'm thinking about how to explain this. Sorry. So there's kind of 2 levels of this, right? If you're working with your clients, you go, okay, here's all the ideas we got. Here's what we're going to do in the next, let's say 6 months. I'm just going to pick a number, right? In 6 months, we're going to get from A to Z, right? And here's all these things we're going to do at a top level. But in this week, in this sprint session, in the next week, we're only going to do these things. Okay. And then today I'm going to focus on this one thing. And this gets into what we call theory of constraints. It's a whole nother management thing, but human beings can only do one thing at a time. Okay. And the most powerful tool that any of us has is our focus, our mental focus and our mental attention. So the whole idea behind this what we call a Kanban board is to organize the work and break it down to collectively understand what the one most important thing is that each one of us are doing. Okay. And that's the one thing that we put in this in progress bucket, and then we go and do it. Okay. And then once it's done and we move on. Does that make sense? So we don't want to, that's how we get from this overwhelmed state that I showed before to a competent, confident team and a team that's aligned and they know what they're doing. And it's by breaking all of these tasks down to the one thing that I'm doing right now and focusing on that until it's done, and then bringing in the next thing in progress. Another tool that I'll offer is what I call what's called mind maps. This is a little bit more advanced. Again, it's something that I'll offer for folks that are interested to maybe go investigate or research a little bit yourself. But it's really, it's largely considered a brainstorming tool. So when I'm mind mapping, for example, so here's my pilot, I'm writing a book. My intro, so I break that down, right? Introduction to the book, purpose, initiative, and it moves on from there. Okay, but what am I doing inside of purpose? Well, I talked about that earlier. Here's my mission level, here's my objective level, here's my task level, we talked about on that slide. But then, okay, if I ran into something else and I got this other idea, so I read a book called Inception Mindset. It's actually right here. So, hey, I like that book, Inception Mindset. I think it relates to what I'm doing. I might use it in my book. So I'm going to create an outline of Inception Mindset, but I'm going to create a task for myself, and I'm going to color code that I want to review Inception Mindset, and then maybe even interview the author. So here's my ideas, but I'm creating tasks for myself, and I'm going to color code those, and then I'm going to put those onto my Kanban board, right, to actually execute those and lay those into my project plan of when I'm going to do that. So again, there's just two tools that I'll offer you. Maybe dig in a little bit on your own. Joe, I'd be happy to come back and talk more about that if you all like, if you find that interesting. But that's, so with that, I'll say that that's really the system. And again, what I'll emphasize here is that this is a system. It's not purpose or initiative or leadership or opportunity or tools or these iterative processes. That's why leadership is so hard. You know, that's why we talk about it so much. That's why it's an art, because it's not any one of these things, it's all of these things. It's using all of these elements as a system and doing them all together. And with that, that's my presentation. Thank you very much for your time and attention.
Right. Thank you, Brian. That was excellent. I got a bunch of questions and comments. The way you ended, I love the tools, because we've been in Bedrock, we've been utilizing a lot of tools from day one. Some of them are just our processes, but a lot of them have to do with software. Okay, and I think that's one of the things. So what the accounting in the Philippines is totally different than accounting in the US. I mean, financial reports and all of that's all the same. It doesn't matter what country you're from. A balance sheet and a P&L they are what they are. But how we get there is a whole nother story.
Yeah.
And the Philippine system doesn't really require a lot of software. A lot of it is done manually, okay? And what I've learned is that when even experienced accountants, Brian, people with CPAs I've seen, they get into the freelancing world, and the first thing that they do is they go to the basic accounting programs like QuickBooks and
Yeah.
Xero, and they have to learn this. So I think learning these tools are very, very important for this group. I might be wrong. Uh, it's just the feeling that I get. Uh, the what was that? The mind map thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And you brought up in Bedrock what our accounting team started, and Luz, you I think you actually started this. Uh, they do a brainstorming session once a
Yeah.
week. Yeah, and that when I saw that mind map thing, that's what it reminded me of, because
Well, Joe,
that's
let me touch on that because that's critically important, right? Because we talk about these iterative processes, and I talked about that shared mental model or that alignment, right? To me, and this is how I use mind maps, right? So a mind map is generally considered, like if you Google it, the first thing it's going to say is brainstorming tool. And
yes.
it is, and it is generally considered that, and it is. But it's also, if you think about it, if you go around that loop, right? If you go around that loop to the debrief, once you use it as a planning tool and as a brainstorming tool, you make a plan based on that. You create that mental model, but then you can also use it on the back end and use it as a tool to update what really happened. Don't just close out the tasks, but that sprint retrospective, what really happened? How did this really work? And you can update that mind map, right? And use it as that shared mental model, not just the task level, the task level management. That's how I use it.
Yeah.
Does that make
You
sense?
know, one of the things I love about Craig and his group is, and I don't know if he talks about this that much. He talked about it last week, I think, but that's thinking outside the box. His thing in marketing was thinking outside the box. And I believe that that's one of the things that this group needs to start doing,
Yeah. And
especially.
that's your competitive advantage.
It is. And I'm starting to look at, uh, how I can approach my job as with my clients from uh, a different standpoint. In other words, as an account, we're taught to be, you know, crunch the numbers, right? Look at
Yeah.
all this stuff. And I think that we lose the big picture.
Right.
Like, and you touched on a lot of that, and you started with the passion, right? And I call it your why. Why are we doing this?
The purpose,
And,
the why, exactly.
right. So if we look at our clients' businesses that way, and we ask them the right questions, a lot
Yes.
of what I try to teach my students, Brian, is to ask the right questions. And you talked about that in the engagement, right? So I'm going to go back to my clients this week, and I'm going to start asking them, why did you start this business? Like, why this business?
Yeah.
Not, it's always about the money, right? We're in business to make a profit. But I have a client that sells used, refurbished medical equipment. They make a lot of money. And I'm like, how do you get into a business like that? Like,
Yeah.
why that business? And I
Yeah.
think by asking them these questions, they're gonna look at me like, oh, I thought this guy just did my tax return. Right now, they're gonna start looking at me as a team. Does that sound like what you're trying to teach here?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it can even roll up to, so in that example, right? And I like to actually like to use fast food as an example, right? Like how motivating is it?
I like to eat fast food.
Right on, as do I, right? But you can even get value from being like a fast food. How do you motivate, someone who's a fast food employee? And really, sometimes what it comes down to is, not some huge highfalutin, I'm going to save the world, um, purpose, which I would offer. Maybe refurbished medical equipment is, because if you can't, you're providing. At least you're providing medical equipment. There's a lot of people that can't afford so at least you're providing something. You're providing. I would offer that's a tremendously kind of world saving sort of a thing. But even in the fast food industry, what are you really doing? And in the military, we call it the foxhole mentality, right? When I'm getting shot at, I'm not in this for God and country. I'm in it to save for me and the guy next to me, right? So if you're building this team engagement, if you really care about the people that you work with, and you like the people that you work with, and they're motivating you, you can do anything. It kind of doesn't matter what you're doing. But if you're getting that back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you're getting that team feeling, what's the right word? I gotta go. I'm gonna have to go back to it. But if you're getting that feeling of connectedness from your team, it almost doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as you're trying to do it to the best of your ability and create excellence. Actually,
Yes.
Chick-fil-A is actually an outstanding example of this. And it's a great use case of this, because Chick-fil-A is outstanding quality across the board. There's lines wrapped around the corner, and all the employees are super happy because there is a sense of team. They create a sense of team belonging. They're just selling chicken.
Did you freeze?
Did I?
Yeah, you froze for a second.
Can you still hear me?
But yeah, when I'm looking at that, and I want to open this up if anybody has any questions, and also don't forget, if you could put in the chat how people can get in touch with you.
Sure.
The last point I wanted to make is that Matt, I don't know, how did I confuse Pavlov with Maslow?
I don't know.
But
That's okay.
But in the end, and this is another thing I try to teach my students about the American entrepreneur. In the end, they want to feel good about themselves, right?
Yeah.
How do you make an American entrepreneur feel good about themselves? You ask them about themselves.
Yes.
It's pretty simple. So when
Pretty
I
simple.
ask somebody, why did you pick this business? It's going to light something in them, right?
Yeah.
The endorphins, they're going to say, oh, Luz really cares about me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
And that'll incentivize them to pay their bill.
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. But Luz, can you talk for a second? I want you to, because Brian brought up the whole mind map thing and the brainstorming. Can you talk about how that's helped the accounting team?
Actually, the brainstorming, it really helps. Number one, it to understand each of the team member, and it's our time to bond. And the more brains, the better, because not each one of us, we don't know everything. So that's the time we're able to share what we know. So it really helps a lot in the team. So I think that's
But you just mentioned something, and it is the bonding. It's the bonding also. And that's what, you know, when Larry started coaching me on building a business that I could scale, it really was all about teamwork and building that what you're talking about, Brian. So Josie, thank you. So Josie tracked you down. She put your contact info in there.
Yeah. So
Marianne,
my email's in the comments, and Jocelyn put my LinkedIn. I'm not on Facebook very much. I mean, I kind of track it, but I'm really on LinkedIn a lot. So that's a great place to get a hold of me. But I do track Facebook, so you can find me there as well.
so I want to open this up. So, you know, we bring a lot of world-class people here that you don't normally run into. I mean, last week we had Craig, who actually babysat for Axl Rose for a bunch of years. We get Larry
word.
Bratton, who basically overthrew countries when he was in the Marines. And today you got a chance to ask a bona fide fighter pilot. He's friends with Tom Cruise. If you ever watched Top Gun, this is so we get so
Yeah.
it's
I
the floor
didn't
is
play one. I didn't play one on TV. I was a real one.
yours. I'm just wondering, how much do one of those things weigh?
How much does it weigh?
Yeah,
Oh gosh. An F-15,
I'm just thinking. So you're,
F-15 fully loaded was probably around 50,000 pounds.
geez, so and you're like you're making this thing 50,000 pounds, and you're making it fly.
I don't make it fly. I just fly it.
Yeah, I can't even imagine being at the wheel saying, "Oh, I'm up 70,000 feet." That's like it's close to outer space as you can
Yeah.
get.
The reason, by the way, really quickly, the quick story. The reason you wear a spacesuit in a spy plane. So I did fighter jets and I flew spy planes. The spy plane was at 70,000 feet. So if you've been on an airliner, airliners usually fly at 35,000 feet. I was twice that high.
Wow.
And the picture I showed earlier was me in a spacesuit. And the reason you wear a spacesuit is because at that altitude, if you were to lose cabin pressure, you were exposed to the ambient air, your blood would actually boil. Because
Oh my
the pressure is so low that the boiling point of water is below 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. And so your blood would boil instantaneously
I'm
at
so
that pressure.
I'm so glad I just learned that.
Yeah, isn't that fun?
Well, yeah, the lesson is don't go to 70,000 feet if you're going.
Not without a
So,
spacesuit anyway.
does anybody have any questions for our fighter pilot here? No questions, man. They're a very shy group, Brian. They're not like
It's okay. If you do have any questions, please do let me know. I'd be happy to engage with y'all. Engage.
Yeah, and
Pun
if you
intended.
don't, if you think of one later, you can connect with Brian on LinkedIn. Marianne, what about you? You always have a question.
Yeah, no, actually, it's not a question. Actually, it's a confirmation of those system thinking about engagement because because if you mentioned they're always asking how to become a CFO, but a become CFO is not only about the numbers. It's like you mentioned initiative and leadership. I think that's the criteria or the character that the CFO needs because you're leading a team and you're the one who initiates and talk directly to the client without hesitations on your perspectives that the CEO or the company owner doesn't see. So I think thank you so much, Brian, for that valuable share.
You use my two favorite words, and those are systems thinking. I mean, the fact that you got that, I just love that. So thank you very much for that. And absolutely.
Yeah, and so I'll close with this because since the CFO thing, I've been thinking about our CFO course for a while now. Like this morning, it was in my head for some reason. Now it's a topic. And what I said before is most of our students, I think, have the knowledge and the skills to be CFOs. And what that means, Brian, is a substantial pay increase.
Sure.
Okay. So a lot of them call themselves bookkeepers, and I tell them, stop calling yourself a bookkeeper because you're all accountants. And in the United States, that comes with a big pay increase.
Yes, it
And
does.
I think the only difference between them being an accountant and a CFO is the mindset, the approach. Like, how am I going to approach this as an accountant? In other words, just crunching the numbers, or am I going to
Yeah.
approach this as a CFO?
Yeah.
Which means
And
now I'm the leader, right?
right. And that's again one of in for my opening comments, right? So I dealt a lot in my previous life with engineers. Okay. So you can consider an engineer kind of like an accountant, or rather like yes, an accountant. You know, very
Yeah.
technical. You have the technical skills. Okay. If you want to level up, if you want to get that next level of management and go from your technical specialty, your technical functional specialty, to a management position, which includes leadership, right? Go back to that other slide where it's not one or the other, it's both. It's a continuum. So if you're in a management position, if you're in that fractional CFO position, or even a financial management position, now you have a team. Now you are setting a course. Now you are creating that vision, that purpose. You're going down this path. And the skills are the same. The technical skills are the same,
Right.
but that's not your job anymore. Your job isn't to if you're a CFO, your job isn't to crunch the numbers anymore. Your job is to make sure that the accountants under you are doing their job, have the training, have the skills, have the empowerment to handle clients' problems, to do their technical job and handle their clients' problems. It's not your job to be that technical person anymore.
Yeah.
It's your job to be a leader manager, which is what we just talked about.
Right. Excellent. Good way to close. All right. Thank you, Brian. Have a great
Thank you.
weekend. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around. And so the lesson today is you can all up level and be CFOs now. Give yourself a raise.
There you go.
All right. Do we have a closing prayer?
I think we need picture.
Oh, pictures. Yes, I forgot. This is the picture capital of the world, Brian.
Okay.
Everywhere we go, we take pictures.
All right. That's cool.
Can you open your video, everyone? Okay.
Yes, the pictures are better if you have an open video.
1, 2, 3, smile. That's one. There's a lot that did not open their video. I think they're shy.
Saturday morning.
Okay, thanks everyone. Thank you, Brian,
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yes.
everyone.
Yes. All right, everyone. Thank you all. God bless. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Good night. Or have a great day, I guess, in the Philippines.
Yes. It's daytime here. Morning.
Yes. All right. Bye, y'all.